Hello, happy Monday, happy summer. It is the first full day of summer, the first full day of Cancer season, and I have been working over here to get back in the saddle after vacation and tuning in for my summer solstice readings. Part 1 is all locked and loaded for everyone who has already booked. Those have been delivered, and tomorrow I'll be tuning in for all of your personal messages. So if you haven't snagged one of these readings yet, this is one of my greatest seasonal spreads because it is a 9-position summer spread that reflects on the season that has just closed out, the spring, and what is gearing up for summer, and gives you guidance in all of those areas. And then we top it off with 2 oracle messages as well. So we're going to be using the Luna Soul Tarot, one of my favorites for this seasonal reading for those 9 cards. And then we're going to be using Whispers of the Dolphin Heart. That one jumped onto the altar today after last night when my daughter Alaina was setting our altar, bringing in that inner child energy, the joy, the play, and she was looking for the dolphin crystal. And she found it. It wasn't the spirit animal that she pulled, but if you've seen the video, it's now up on my YouTube. If you haven't, you can check it out. It's like a 13 minutes, but really sweet. She brings all of that beautiful energy in, sets our altar, picks all of the colors, the crystals, the healing energy sprays that we bring in to infuse the messages. And with that, she brought my purple amethyst dolphin crystal. So Whispers of the Dolphin Heart as our chosen oracle deck, and then also the Monarch Oracle. So those are both really beautiful and so fun for summer. But also, if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, I do offer a winter solstice spread as well. Up to you, your choice. So I'm about to pull our collective week ahead cards for this Monday through Friday, a little bit behind because of all the things. So I thought that I would just pop on Face Forward real quick and pull us a collective message for Litha. I'm going to use the Seasons of the Witch, Litha Oracle, and we're going to see what comes forward for us just kind of in reflection of that solstice portal opening up yesterday. Now we step into summer, and we're gearing up for a full moon at the end of the month and some other very important astrological transits. One of the biggest of the year is going to cap off the month with Jupiter moving into Leo. I get into that in the solstice video as well. But for now, we're just going to tune in here and pull us a card. And then I only just have the astrological weather to report on this week is just reflecting on yesterday's solstice and the entry of Cancer season. So we'll take a look at that as well. So let's see what comes up for us as a collective coming in through Litha midsummer as the wheel turns. I know for us here, it was our first official day home out of school, summer break, and yeah, always interesting settling into that routine. Oh, let me shuffle again. That one was sticking out, winked at me, but one card, please. All right. Ooh, that's an important one. Hydration has come forward. Look at all those little kids. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Everybody home. Hydration, card 20. It says, there is more to the story than meets the eye. Be mindful of what hides beneath the surface. Interesting. Yes, Alaina and her big brother. They know how to push each other's buttons. I'm definitely getting vibes of what it was like here yesterday and today, and then rest of the foreseeable. Okay, hydration. Feeling into this card, I'm going to check and see what the oracle has to say. What is beneath the surface that we need to know about? Let's see. So this is bringing up basic nourishment, foundational healing, source of the problem. So it's asking if you've ever had dry skin in the summer. Between sun rays, air conditioning, salt water, the chlorine, your skin can take a brutal beating. You can increase your moisturizer, of course, but that is only treating the symptoms and not the problem. Now, while environmental influences increase your chances of having dry skin, proper hydration is half the battle. So getting enough of this foundational healing by just drinking more water will have a significant impact on not only your skin, but your body's overall wellness. So a little wellness tip there for you. Bringing it into spiritual aspects, we see that, that well-being is similar. So it's saying you may be attempting to manifest a large goal or heal an old wound, but are focusing on the symptoms when there's a much bigger problem driving the external manifestations you're experiencing. Poor beliefs about self-worth may prevent you from attracting more love or wealth. A deep-rooted fear of new experiences may hinder your plans to travel more or chase after a dream, or you could find that troubles in a relationship are the result of a long-forgotten childhood wound. Additional information, understanding, or healing is needed before this situation can come to a conclusion. Put on your X-ray glasses and look beyond the surface of your problem or question, because there's much more to the story than meets the eye, and you have only just begun to peel back the layers. Well, yes, I see that is speaking to, in the same way that we understand that when we are experiencing, exposure to all of the elements and maybe, not hydrating properly, or that may seem like an obvious fix for some of those ailments. Similarly, in our spiritual well-being, kind of looking at all of the different influences and aspects that are bringing up a certain state of being that we find ourselves in, and sort of looking beneath the surface to not just get at the symptoms of that, but actual root cause to say, hey, is the reason that I'm spinning my wheels trying to get this business off the ground, or, manifest this great thing in my life, or whatever it may be, is not just what's happening on the surface, but the root cause having something to do with an innate sense of self-doubt, a lack of worth, playing small, different things that could be coming up. And what we're seeing in front of us is actually the agent that's allowing us to become aware of this need for healing, of balancing, or whatever it may be. So even though sometimes those effects can be uncomfortable, non-preferred, they're actually serving, right? Because they are showing us that there is more than meets the eye, and things don't just happen because for the sake of happening, but rather there's always more to it. And nothing is ever wasted in the laws of the universe. So every encounter, every situation that we have, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it is serving us as happening for us, not to us. And when we choose to look at it through those lenses, to pull back, to look beneath the surface a bit, that is where we find what is coming up to be seen, released, integrated, healed, however it's come forward. So, we'll tune in now. I'm going to put the camera down and we're going to take a look and see what's coming up for this week for the collective. We're going to pull our 5 tarot cards. I've got the Oracle and the Tarot of Oneness. They've been working together throughout the month, so I can't wait. It's been like, I don't know, I wasn't able to do these last week. I was away, so it's a real treat to get to tune in and see what is coming up for us collectively, because it's been a minute and I'm getting back into it, so that tomorrow I'll be tuning in for those personal readings. So once again, if you're interested, check out the link and go ahead and book, and I will be in touch with right away. I can send you the part 1, and then your part 2, your personal messages would follow. I also provide you with a report that has pictures of all of your cards and additional resources. So I'd love to connect with you for this season if that's speaking to you. For now, let's get into our collective week in progress messages to see what's coming up this week. And I wanted to share with you a little astrological weather as well. So these are just the 2 little things that I'm going to mention, not little, but just things that have already just come to pass yesterday with the arrival of Solstice and the sun in Cancer. So, as we celebrated the sun there on the day of Solstice. So in the Northern Hemisphere, we know it was the longest day. In the Southern Hemisphere, the shortest day of the year. And so that's where they're experiencing the longest night. And so that duality is a cosmic display of that dark and light that live within all things. So, that was showing us that it was an opportunity for us to journey, whether it's going within, as in, the finding the light inside because there's shadow and darkness on the outside, or whether we're shining outward with the return of the sun. And so with that, we had the sun moving into the sign of Cancer. So happy birthday to all the Cancerians out there. Cancer is known for its watery, heartfelt energy, and also brings forward a great time for us to find our strength and courage. We can only do this when we feel secure and strong within ourselves. So Cancer season asks us to take that journey into mothering ourselves, right? And bringing into that place of authentic identity. And again, this is where I can see that hydration energy coming forward to say, hey, more than just what meets the eye, what's beneath the surface. And so we have this opportunity now to connect with this watery, emotional, heart-centered energy for the duration of this season. So again, I did talk about that quite a bit in part 1 of the solstice reading, talked about the crab and the symbolism there as well. So let me know if you would like to join for that. Let's get into now our week in progress messages. All right, welcome in to our June altar space. We are back with our Tarot of Oneness, the Oracle of Oneness. We're tuning in here for this first full week of summer and Cancer season. So we're going to start with our Tarot of Oneness with our 5-card spread to see what is coming forward for us for guidance, insight, and awareness into this week and beyond. So the first card we pull, representing today, Monday, as it is closing out, it's close to 10 p.m. here on the East Coast, that in reflection of the day and also in kicking off the week. Let's see what's coming forward here from the Tarot of Oneness. One card, please. There we go. Ooh, we've got the card of awakening. So this is like the judgment energy coming in. This is card 20 of the major arcana. Gorgeous colors. Love this. So this is like a wake-up call, something coming in, illuminating things coming up to the surface to be seen. And in this case, kind of reaching into the light, reaching into this opportunity for, lack of a better word, salvation, this sense of having these aspects of judgment coming into our awareness and leveling up from there. So we'll feel into that. The Tarot of Oneness always gives us some really beautiful ways of looking at those traditional messages. So we'll see what comes forward there for Monday. That is a major arcana card, so that is significant energy coming up. And then Tuesday represents our potential block or challenge. So a potential block or challenge coming in this week, marked by Tuesday's energy. See what's coming through. Okay. Ooh, we've got the embodiment of wands. So this is like the King of Wands in a traditional tarot. This is Leo energy. And look at that bold shift in the colors. And this is actually quite aligned with the colors that came forward last night when Alaina and I were putting together the summer solstice altar. She was a big fan of the sunrise, new dawn, and those bold red, orange, yellow colors, but also the purple and gold of the higher self. So the embodiment of the wands energy, the fire, the sparks, the inspiration, being challenged this week of standing in our power and owning it, right? So we'll feel into what's coming up there. Can't help but notice, and I think if you see back here, my little selenite tower has toggling through different rainbow colors. So I'm getting a little vibe here with that coming up through the crystal bits as we see here. So we'll feel into that and what's coming in on the altar for Tuesday. Wednesday is a midweek blessing. So we'll see what is coming in this week as a midweek blessing for the collective. Of course, these are general messages where you are going to find naturally that some things may resonate more than others, and that's okay. That's how it works. You take what resonates, you leave the rest. There's always someone there to pick it up. But that being said, I do love to hear from you in the wild, different ways that these things come to pass. So, the lovers. Okay, Gemini. So now we're feeling this, another major arcana card. We've got awakening. We have then the embodiment of the wands. And now here is a second major arcana energy as the lovers. Now, fun fact about this deck, there's actually two lovers cards. One represents what looks to be a divine masculine energy and the other one, the divine feminine. So I also take note when in this case, it is the divine masculine that has come up as a midweek blessing. I mentioned Gemini as being the sign that's associated with the lovers. So we have just come through Gemini season. And I'm getting a little bit of a connection here with the challenge of the week being the embodiment of the wands, the embodiment of our fire, our sparks, our inspiration, our ideas, and that being challenged by the choice energy, the energy of having to make a choice. And in fact, I've just recorded, I pulled our Litha card. We got hydration, right? If you caught that over on the Sharecast, or if you saw that just before this part, I also pulled one just for those who are receiving the Solstice reading. And we got a card that spoke about having all these choices and not knowing what to do. There's an energy here I'm getting of like a mental fatigue for some. Okay, so we'll feel into that, but just kind of getting that off the cuff with that lover's energy coming in. Thursday represents how are we growing? And how have we grown all throughout Gemini season, as a matter of fact, and how might we expect into Cancer season that we will grow? So let's see just caught one there. Let's come forward. Ooh, more fire. Inspiration of wands. So embodiment of wands, challenged. How are we growing? Inspiration of wands. So that's like baby steps, because this is like the page of wands. This is the king of wands. So this is like, okay, yes, there is growth, and there's growth through, we see here, some of those totems. And this card actually came up. It wasn't last week because I know I was out, but the week before when we got both the page and I believe it was the action of wands as well. So this is interesting. The wands have been highly featured this month. We came in with airy Gemini. Now we step into watery Cancer, but wands keep coming up. The fire, the sparks, the inspiration, the ideas, the desire, the passion coming through. What lights you up? And we talked about in this, in the smoke that's coming up, we see butterflies, dragonflies. We see, oh, you know what? I think I might have called this a serpent before, but I actually see little legs there. And you might have caught, and that makes sense because, of course, that is a symbol that is associated with the suit of wands and fire with the lizard energy there. So we will feel into that as well, that all of these things are part and parcel of the inspiration of wands, of what you are creating, of what you are bringing forward as energy and bringing it into matter. Okay, so I'm definitely feeling there's a lot going on there for people with ideas and inspiration, but maybe needing to perhaps channel it in a way or guiding it forward for practical steps that can be taken. We're going to pull one more of the Tarot of Oneness cards that represents Friday as wrapping up the week. And then we'll pull our oracle message. So, of course, we're going to break down each one of these days. I'm going to tune in intuitively. I'm going to share with you the beautiful guidance from the Tarot of Oneness and the Oracle of Oneness guides. And then, just share with you, okay, I wasn't looking, but that one wanted to come out Friday. Yeah, okay. So, inspiration of wands, inspiration of cups. So there we go. I'm saying, where's the water? So here it is. We've got the inspiration of cups coming right side by side with that inspiration of wands, fire and water. So this is like page of cups energy coming in here. Beautiful with the shell and the seahorse, the starfish. Again, symbols of regeneration coming up for me because I always get that with the lizard and with the starfish. Animals who, when they break off a tail or a point, can regenerate, can grow back. And so this is also tying in for me with this energy of Chiron and Taurus. I talked about that the last time we met to discuss our energetic weather in the cosmos and this very significant transit that's happening this month, but is something that is bringing full circle for many, their Chiron return, the energy of moving into Taurus from Aries. So fire to earth and more. So we'll see what comes forward as we tune into the messages, but definitely something there with the healing of wounds and the regenerating of spirit coming forward. Okay, one last card we're going to pull here from the Oracle of Oneness. See what's coming in to cap off our messages for the week. What is coming forward here for the collective energies? One card, please. Ooh, all right. Leapt from my fingers. Ooh, nature offers profound healing. Beautiful. Card 34. Nature offers profound healing. And I'm seeing like the spiral energy, like the Fibonacci spiral. I see the ladybug totem in here and more. All kinds of beautiful things. So this is also kind of an extension of that hydration card, which actually just out of the frame. Let me bring that in. So if you caught that intro that I just did with the card pull for Litha for Midsummer, this is the card that came forward for us collectively, the card of hydration. And now we have nature offering profound healing. So these are both feeling like some bookends to our week. So let me shimmy here. Having traveled and my card holders are all getting unpacked and brought back to places and spaces. So I'm just improvising here. We get everybody in, and now we will add to it this beautiful oracle message and tune in to see just what's coming up from each of these for us. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, here we go. We are starting with Monday in the here and now, 10:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, June 22nd. The card that came forward to kick off this first week of summer and Cancer season is the card of awakening, card 20 of the major arcana, like the judgment energy in this beautiful card of awakening. So let's take a look at the Tarot of Oneness and the take on this energy to kick off our week, awakening. So this is tuning into an inner calling, awakening, evaluation, understanding, inner awareness, redemption. I think I used a word like that. I think I said salvation, redemption, positive motives, allowing your spirit to shine. Yeah, and like this is what I was saying about the astrological weather and how we were reflecting on solstice as either the longest day or the longest night, whether that light is shining internally, like the darkness, or if it's shining out like the sun. So in either way, shining, right? So we're not talking about a sudden epiphany here. What you're experiencing is more of a deep awareness that begun as a tiny spark of curiosity that made you question who you are and why you're here. Haha. Enter in that these pages, the inspiration of the fire, the spark, and the water, the emotion coming in here. This is the awakening, the illumination of those things. So as you navigated life's trials and tribulations, you learned some valuable lessons. The self-reflection that came after each experience fueled that spark, allowing it to grow into what is best described as an awakening. All of the pieces are fitting together now, and you know what to do next. You finally feel safe to surrender to the natural laws of the universe and reconnect to your higher self. You are now ready to embrace a higher level of consciousness. And this awareness may require you to make changes in your life, but you can make these adjustments with ease, knowing that you are doing the right thing. Purge yourself of any residual guilt or sadness. They don't serve you anymore. Accept the lessons you've learned and let go of any self-judgment. Yeah, I mean, this is like expanding upon what we were tapping into with hydration, how we were talking about the choices and understanding what's underlying versus what's the ailment on the surface, right? Similarly, we talked about how all the things that are coming up, the good, the bad, the ugly, how they are informing us, how they are serving us to bring into our awareness, okay, epiphany or shining a light on something, an aha moment, having a deeper understanding or inner standing, that it's all coming in for you, not happening to you. And that shift in perspective, that way of looking at it is something that is offering you this redemption, this sense of expansion and rising up to what is available energetically to you and all, right? The collective. And as we each open our hands to receive that, as we see here, that is where the abundance comes in, and it can come in many different forms. And sometimes, like I say, it's a little covert. It could come in as, as it was using the hydration analogy of, being depleted or having dry skin, or the things that can happen on the surface when the root cause is the lack of water, hydration. And so when we're talking about it from a spiritual perspective, we're looking at a lack of confidence, self-worth, belief, something that's coming up to say, like, that is not nourishing your spirit anymore, never was, whatever it may be. So let's go on and see what is coming in with that embodiment of wands to create some type of block or challenge in this awakening and awareness that's coming in. All right, Tuesday, potential block or challenge, the beautiful embodiment of wands, like the King of Wands in the traditional tarot, boldly bringing forward all the sparks, all the fire, and it being embodied, but it's challenged, right? There's a block here. So, in its embodied form, this is about experience, natural born leader energy, entrepreneur, having a vision, masculine energy, charismatic, focused, delegating to others to accomplish ideas, being determined, having a lasting impact, or creating a legacy, right? That's some of the energies of an embodiment of wands. But if that's challenged or blocked in some way, that's where we could be seeing it as impulsivity, ruthless, high expectations, aggressive stepping into a role you're not ready for, arrogance, disempowering others, unrealistic expectations. Remember, traditionally, the embodiment of wands, King of Wands, is a court card. It's the personality and people energy of the tarot. So typically, this coming up in a reading represents you or another person in your orbit or an aspect to embody. So that's where, some of those reversed keywords I was just sharing, this could be someone else outside of you in your orbit that you're experiencing in the way of arrogance or disempowering others, having unrealistic expectations, or could be you, could be something that's being mirrored back to you. And it could be doing so in an uncomfy kind of way, hence why we might call it a block or a challenge or something that we don't prefer. But actually, when we step back and take a look at the big picture, an expanded perspective, now we can see how that particular arrogant individual or someone coming along attempting to disempower us or bringing us unrealistic expectations is actually serving to trigger us to have something come into our awareness, to have a particular realization. So this could be you, someone in your orbit, encountered this week, an energy that's been around that you're tapping into, that's challenging you to step into your power in that way. So here, it's saying that the wearer of this crown is a natural born leader. It's someone who embodies the energy of the wand's suit, full of passion, direction, and charisma to attract others who will support their mission. Is this someone around you? Or is this you? Goals have been carefully thought out and long-term success will be achieved. There's no challenge that can't be overcome. In fact, the opportunity to problem solve adds fuel to the fire as you blaze towards your accomplishments. You have built a following of supporters who see your vision and are ready to help you achieve it. Your leadership is honorable. You are at the core of a very powerful team. You don't sit on this throne dreaming up new possibilities. You sit here with purpose. It's onwards and upwards with a clear vision and direction. The fire within you propels you forward, and nothing is going to slow you down. Well, that's very powerful. And that is perhaps capturing our true essence. And yet, if we feel like, okay, so yeah, I have done all the work. I have built, all these ideas. I've taken inspired action. I've taken steps. Why isn't it happening? Why hasn't it come together? And this is where, for some, this could be coming to light, where there could be some opportunity to really step into that and recognize that there could be something undercutting, covert, disempowering belief, saboteur type energy that comes in and is creating this perceived, delay or break in something. And this is where I was speaking to like a salamander energy or like a lizard, like I was saying, as a symbol in the suit of wands. This is like the salamander that represents the element of fire. So when we think of fire as an agent of, whether we're talking about it transmuting, whether we're talking about it burning something away, carrying it up in its smoke, we see that happening over here, that it's all serving. So things that come in and maybe burn something down, in a way that feels like it's obliterated it, but actually it has been released. It's been freed. Its form has changed, but it does grow back in a greater capacity, as we talk about the symbolism of the salamander. So if that is challenging, if there's a sense of difficult people or situations in our midst, or an aspect of ourself that we're tripping over, that's the type of energy that we could be experiencing this week. And now we're going to take a look at how that could all be serving us through blessings and growth. So let's take a look now at Wednesday. All right, Wednesday brings our midweek blessing through the masculine version of the lovers in this deck. So the lovers energy, card 6 of the major arcana, coming in here as unity, commitment, duality, harmony, choice, affection, friendship, love, and vulnerability. So it's speaking to the Lovers card has been interpreted here and as it has been in different ways over the years. So while many see it as a reflection of romantic love, just by its name being the Lovers, some see it as creating conscious connections that exist outside of romantic or sexual relationships. It can also reference close friends and other meaningful partnerships where energetic bonds are strong and loving energy flows back and forth in beautiful and empowering ways. So whatever the nature of the relationship, it is one that is best described as a soul connection. Opening your heart to receiving love begins with self-love. How can you attract a beautiful relationship with someone else if you don't love and respect yourself? Focusing on taking care of your body, mind, and spirit by making your own well-being and happiness a priority. Know your worth and accept nothing less than what your beautiful soul desires. Now, pulling this card can also mean that a love connection is on the horizon. If you already have someone in your life, then it could also mean that connection is growing stronger. And so the energy that we see reflected here in the card, the sparkly energy flows between you and the figure in the card, representing the energetic bond that connects the two of you. It's both magnetic and loving. So again, interesting that what is connecting you to the individual on the card? There's masculine energy there. So if we think of that, yes, for some, it could be about relationship, about connection coming in through that most, obvious surface potential way. But also, and I'm just wanting to show you the contrast, the divine feminine energy, masculine. So also, what is coming up here to reflect back to me so that I can reach that into myself to see the ways in which I have not been giving myself love and providing myself, taking action in a way that is serving myself first, so that I am able to connect with others in that same authentic way, which is through my lived experience, to say that I have self-love, self-worth. And so now I create space for others to give that to me in turn, right? So the masculine energy could be representing action, the yang, the aspect of what to do that is about making a choice to really amplify that energy, whereas the divine feminine would be about the being, just receiving and being in that more of a passive role, different, not less, right? So there's this sense of masculine, feminine, and the mirroring energy. And as I mentioned, these cards are connected with the sign of Gemini, which we've just left Gemini season, but actually yet to come this month, we have some aspects. And I believe, as I was just getting into it today in the solstice reading, about Mars in Gemini and the way that that shows up. And that is an energy that's just around the corner. So I feel like this week is building up some of that as well. So there's more to come on that. And like I said, I get into that much more deeply in those solstice readings. So again, if you're interested in that, you can get into that there as well. Okay, let's take a look now at Thursday. What's going up in that smoke with the inspiration of wands? All right, Thursday. How are we growing? How have we grown? How may we grow? Inspiration of wands coming in here. What's coming up in the smoke? We identified the salamander, the butterflies, the dragonflies. There's an energy here. I also see a starfish. So there's a lot of that beautiful symbolism that we see repeated throughout the week. So this is where we can kind of use that as a totem, as a symbol, a sign that's coming through the cards this week to speak to our higher self, to speak to our intuitive self, to think about the ways in which this could be bringing something forward for you. So inspiration of wands coming in here like the page of wands. How are we growing? And this is representative of imagination, inspiration, potential, being a free spirit, embracing opportunities, spiritual discovery, imagining new possibilities, and perhaps even having some creative restlessness. And that's what I was saying about this whole holdup over here, where we were talking about different business ventures or things that we've been calling into our lives that haven't quite come together yet, and perhaps feeling a little exasperation or frustration with that. And yet there's something coming up for us to see beneath the surface that delay is serving just that, right? To come up for us. So, this is saying that, there's always been a little flame inside of you, burning low, waiting to be fanned and brought to life. Work, relationships, daily tasks, and many other things have kept it at a dull flicker. Limiting beliefs and fear have also done their part to keep the flames at bay. Something has shifted. That dull ember has been fueled, creating a burst of creative inspiration. You can feel the energy of exciting possibilities building inside you with enthusiasm that almost feels childlike. It reminds you of those carefree days, hanging out with your friends, coming up with wild ideas and new things to try. Choose the idea that feels right, and before running with it, strategize to give yourself the best chance for success. So this feels connected to this summer solstice energy coming in. The pages are the youngest as well. So this is youth energy too. And I'm being taken to Alaina at the altar last night, setting things, and just through her childlike, wondering, imaginative space, which is just so beautiful and light and innocent and so needed for many of us jaded, dare I say, adults, busy adulting, that have maybe forgotten or sort of buried or calloused over the notion of just doing something for the fun of it, for the joy, for just the sheer joy. And so children and that youthful energy reminds us of that and gives us permission to step into that. Some of the symbols are mentioned here. Butterfly, which is like spiritual rebirth, change, and hope, all coming in with the butterfly. The clear quartz, which is often called the universal crystal or power stone. It enhances energy by amplifying, storing, balancing, and focusing it. Dragonfly, this insect symbolizes change, transformation, and self-realizations. Moths symbolize rebirth, transformation, and regeneration. I was going to mention when I said that some of these cards were giving me Alaina's color scheme from last night with the sunrise, new dawn. We pulled that out when she pulled the spirit animal, which was, spoiler alert for those who haven't caught the video yet, was the moth. And so we talked about that. And as I was reading into that intuitively today in the part 1, we're talking about like a moth to a flame and being drawn in, but burning out, or, being somehow held up or delayed in a way that actually is serving to illuminate. So this feels all very connected to that energy, and the fact that it is like, how may we grow through the summer, through Cancer season. This does feel very connected into those solstice messages. Now, salamander also being pointed out here, and that, of course, like we just talked about with the embodiment of wands, representing the element of fire. And then also seen here is the black stone, which is shungite. And this is a healing stone that's one of the most dynamic of the crystal realm, and it's fantastic for boosting energy levels and correcting imbalances. The hydration card, focusing on. Yesterday, me and the kids got into a very hot, dirty project in the garage for my husband for Father's Day. And we were getting hot and cranky. Our electrolytes were low. And we were needing to be very conscientious of taking breaks, hydrating, stepping away. And so this was something that, we had mixed results on how good we were doing that. But it's just a reminder that, the feeling of depletion or the feeling of something being imbalanced is necessary. It's the squeaky wheel. It's the thing that brings it to our attention that something is not in alignment or that something needs to be realigned or recalibrated. So again, that just could be something for some of you that could be about different types of imbalances, whether we're talking about in the body. I mentioned things like electrolytes and hydration, or whether we're talking about, certain iron or vitamin levels or different things that could be depleted in a way that are being highlighted for us that, and then we're saying, how are we growing? Well, again, this union, this connection of mind, body, and spirit, and being more present about the ways in which we serve each of those aspects equally. A lot of times it's just the body. It's just the physical that gets all the attention and all the hubbubaloo, because that's the one that is so obvious, that is so tactile. And yet the spirit, the mind, those things are also in need of hydration and care. So it feels like that's something that we're growing into as well. And I think that's going to be expanded on when we get to that beautiful oracle card. But we've got one more tarot card to go, wrapping up the week with Friday. All right, Friday coming in here with another page, another inspiration. Inspiration of Wands, Inspiration of Cups. Beautiful, beautiful card. So this is bringing in new ideas, open-mindedness, messenger energy. Pages are messengers, curiosity, awakening. We're hearing that word again, where we started and now where we're ending. Awakening, possibilities, creative opportunities. Embrace your inner child. Yes. Trust your intuition. Wear your heart on your sleeve. an unexpected surprise. Yeah, Page of Cups is the one that talks about like when pigs fly, you know, things coming from seemingly unexpected places. So it's like, stay open to surprise. Keep your heart open to be delighted, you know, like that's the energy that I'm feeling there. So the Inspiration of Cups, again, like the embodiment and the Inspiration of Wands, this could reflect you, or it could be representative of someone else. It's an energy that's full of fresh, innocent optimism that is youthful in feel. Do you remember moments in your childhood when you experienced something new, fun, and inspiring? When you didn't have the demands of adult life distracting you? That's the energy this card is referring to. This is what we just said. When we're caught up in adulting, right, we lose the spark, the passion for curiosity and play and wonder. So it's saying inspiration can also appear when you immerse yourself in a new creative activity. Take a class, create art, learn to play an instrument, whatever will allow you to express yourself and embrace your inner child. Yeah. You may be receiving an unexpected, happy surprise in the near future. Yes, I claim that. I own it. I'm ready for it. Bring it on, right? I want to get in on some of that. So it's saying, trust your intuition and follow your heart. Signs and symbols are all around you. Yeah. I mean, the starfish came up, I think, 3 times here in these cards as well. So speaking of the starfish, it's speaking to how the starfish must rely on their senses for survival. And they're suggesting that you use your intuition. It's also interesting to note that they only see light and dark. Oh, yes. I mean, I've read this before. I just didn't like maintain that little fact. But starfish can only distinguish between light and dark, but they don't have like a refined sense of sight. So that's really interesting as we talk about solstice, the return of the light or the longest night, right? Light and dark. So starfish energy showing up, the conch shell, which it says, while there's many different spiritual meanings for conch, it's used on this card to represent courage, optimism, and staying true to your heart. And it's also considered a symbol of new beginnings in some cultures. Hearts. So we see there's hearts in the mix too, the one on the sand there. When dreaming up possibilities, do so with an open heart. Seahorse. The seahorse shares the energies of calmness, balance, and healing while channeling the divine masculine. Yeah, I mentioned this before when this card must have come up this month, or another seahorse, because I remember sharing, and this is interesting because the divine masculine is also coming up twice here this week. I mentioned how, you know, it was specifically saying that the seahorse is connecting in with the masculine, and yet the seahorse is one who takes on the seahorse. The male seahorse is the one that carries the babies and delivers them. The mother puts them into a pouch in the father, the male, and he carries them to term, and then they are birthed from him. So it's interesting because it's kind of showing male energy taking on perhaps a more feminine role that's typically feminine in terms of being more. There's a softness there. There's a receptiveness there. There's, the yin energy that I'm feeling, which being that it is coming from the midweek blessing and finishing out the week, there's an energy of a softening. And I think that too is the Cancerian influence, because Cancer energy, Cancer season is bringing a time of softening. You know, Gemini is sharp-minded, sharp-witted, can be sharp-tongued, so the Gemini air energy has just come through. And, as that is pulling back and the watery, emotional Cancer energy is flowing in, there is a softening. So I feel that too. That's something that we're building on. So we'll see how that takes us here through this week. Again, love to hear from you how it might be resonating for you or any specific areas. If you would like more specific guidance just for you, I am offering the free personal card pull. So you can reach out and let me know if you're interested in that. And I will be getting to those after all of these solstice readings that I'll be doing this week. Okay, one last card to go with our Oracle of Oneness. All right. I love that you can see this so beautifully and close up because it is a gorgeous card. The Oracle of Oneness brings forward, nature offers profound healing. So the affirmations with this card are, I embrace the wisdom of nature. I fortify my body with Earth's natural supplements. Plant medicine supports my body's natural healing process. I prioritize living a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Yeah, I mean, this is all in alignment with what we were saying. When we're talking about a lack or a depletion in something, and whether we're talking about it hitting the physical body. So we talked about things like vitamins and minerals and, all of those types of things, or some type of a deficiency coming up there. But it's also highlighting a lot of practical natural healers. I see ginger, I see the fungi, I see different flowers and plants that offer healing energy. So let's tune in here for this message. It says, if you haven't yet incorporated holistic health into your routine, it may be time to expand your horizons and explore new options. Holistic health emphasizes attuning to your body while also supporting, guys, the words come out of our mouths. Okay. Supporting your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being also, right? So what did we just say? The physical body is obvious. It's dense. It's exposed. It's something that we can sense. But then we have the emotional, the spiritual, the mental. So drawing this card may suggest that starting to delve deeper into what you can to do to live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Have you been feeling low on energy, even after rest? Do you feel overwhelmed or suffer from frequent aches and pains? Are you lacking motivation or struggling to get a good night's sleep? Consider exploring plant medicine, which supports your body's natural healing processes rather than merely suppressing symptoms. Be sure to do thorough research or consult a professional. Pause. This is what the hydration card was also saying. Completely different deck, totally different creator, a frequency that we're tapping into this week. That just said that we could be just trying to suppress symptoms rather than getting to the root cause. That is what the hydration card said as well. So it's saying, as with any substance, it's essential to understand both the benefits and potential drawbacks, including possible drug interactions and side effects. Seek a balance between conventional medical advice and holistic practices for optimal well-being. Yeah, I'm feeling this for sure. I know exactly how this is coming up for me. I'm in the process of some different things that I've been trying to help me with some things that I've been uncovering, mind, body, spirit, for overall wellness and trying to recalibrate and balance things. And as I'm trying different things, I also brought with me, like my coffee habit. I like my coffee and I have it a certain number of times a day. And that is no longer jiving with some of the other things that I've brought in. It's too much. It's too much caffeine. It's too much of a stimulant. And then I'm finding myself experiencing physical symptoms that I can explain because I realize that those two things or more they're not balanced. So I totally get this from a practical point of view, like how that's coming up for me. And I wonder how you might tune into that, but definitely feeling this. So it's saying herbal remedies have been used by indigenous tribes and cultures for thousands of years and often have fewer side effects, being gentler on the body compared to synthetic medications. Teas, tinctures, salves, and oils can offer natural relief. Peppermint and ginger, for example, help with nausea, while dandelion and echinacea support detoxification. Adaptogenic herbs like chamomile, lavender, and St. John's wort reduce stress hormones, improve sleep, and boost mood. Nootropic herbs such as ashwagandha and lion's mane enhance memory and sharpen focus. Herbs like black cohosh and wild yam support endocrine health, while others can help with pain and inflammation. Yeah, so it's a lot of like really practical guidance about, some natural alternatives and ways to really get at some profound healing. It may be subtle, it may be slower, it may be gentler than some other conventional methods, but effective, but also having an awareness of how all of those things interact and interrelate. And so if we are feeling off, if things aren't balanced, and this again brought us full circle back to the message of hydration, that there could be more than meets the eye, maybe more than just the obvious reason, explanation, but rather digging in a little deeper beneath the surface, which could call for some time that you just stop and get grounded and reflect, and just be present in the moment and tune into your body and see just what it needs and perhaps even what it doesn't need, something that maybe you've been introducing, so I'm feeling all of that myself. So lots of beautiful energy coming through this card, which just really seems to be a beautiful exclamation point on the week, really reflecting the messages that we're tuning in across the board here. So once again, thank you so much for being here. I am excited to be getting back into the groove here. Like I said, I'm going to be working on those solstice readings, available if you would like a personal card pull this week, and gearing up to finish out the empowerment pack for this month. We still have a full moon coming up towards the end of the month here in a couple weeks. So all those things going on over here. Would love to hear from you how things are going for you. Once again, much love, many blessings. We'll talk soon.